Combo breaker!
Hey guys, welcome back to the show. And also Satori, I have to ask you a question.
Go ahead, Kay.
What are my favorite games?
Kay, what are your favorite games?
Well, I'll tell you guys. Chrono Trigger, Metal Gear Revengeance, and also Devil May Cry 3.
Of course.
Now, what do all of them have in common?
You like guys who swing a big sword.
Perfect!
Well, actually, I like that the protagonists are no holds barred and also have big swords. But Ghost of Tsushima is also very hard to pronounce, but also an awesome game. And guys, although that it's been a year out already, it's out for PS5 and we did a review of it and you have to check it out. As a final swan song for the PlayStation 4's life cycle, Ghost of Tsushima comes in as the console's last official game exclusive. To close out on such a legacy of virtual entertainment brings high expectations and with such an honorary prestige to carry. Was Ghost of Tsushima a cut above the rest? Not gonna lie, when this exclusive was teased all the way back in October 2017, my interest was piqued almost immediately. And it wasn't just because I had a hard time pronouncing the name of the game. Fast forward to the third quarter of 2020 and I was ready to dive into the world of feudal Japan and live out my lifelong dream of becoming a samurai. There were notable differences in graphics previewed versus the final PS4 release, but I wasn't that nitpicky. It still looked polished. I mean, I eat burgers that don't look like what's on the posters all the time, right? So, the year is 1274 and the game takes place on Tsushima Island off the coast of Japan, which is a real island, yeah, a real live island. Didn't even have to make up a fantasy place, which I respected. Anyway, we get to experience the true tale of how this tiny island liberated itself from an overwhelming invasion. Within the first act and in cinematic splendor, you, Jin Sakai, are part of an 80-man platoon of samurai who are the first and only line of defense against the Mongol legion of literally 1,000 enemy soldiers occupying Tsushima Beach. They have already ransacked, burned and pillaged most of the countryside, and it is clear that if negotiations go south, you are pretty much on the honorable suicide mission. Spoiler alert, negotiations go horribly wrong and the very believable big baddie, Khotan Khan, sends a message using your messenger. You want peace? Well, here's your peace. It is at this point you are thrown into a chaotic immersive charge, blazing down the battlefield amidst the hail of arrows, tumbling horses and conflagration. I couldn't help but smile as I had to give the developers at Sucker Punch credit for this fascinating opening battle sequence. Visually impressive, generally epic, and a good way to translate how high the stakes are. I actually felt there was a reason to fight. Anyways, being Jin Sakai means that you will know defeat and thought to be killed in battle. However, you will survive long enough to seek revenge. To do this will put Jin at odds with his entire code of honor. You see, there is a code of conduct all samurai must follow. Khotan Khan is aware of all of the samurai's limitations and has no problems exploiting their weakness, using devastating cunning and wicked psychological warfare to stomp out and demoralize the remaining defense. He knows what they will do and most importantly, what they won't do, or so he thinks. Jin returns as the ghost and toes the line between honor and justice at any cost by doing the unthinkable. For such an enemy, he will have to abandon his teachings, risk losing his honor and become not the hero that his people want, but the hero his people need, the Japanese Batman. The gameplay revolves around improving and mastering your basic samurai techniques. You start off with one solid stance, the stone stance, and progress through the game learning new stances in addition to the nefarious ninjutsu-like assassination and espionage technique. During the first stages of the game, enemies can pretty much put you in the dirt if you aren't careful due to the limited starter techniques. The AI on normal to hard difficulty can be a mortal challenge, especially when outnumbered. So you will need to update and upgrade to better manage. Defeating higher ranking enemies unlocks some of these techniques. You can hide in the shadows and observe an enemy leader's technique while they train and copy their stance, or just straight up defeat a few of these leaders and automatically take their knowledge and technique, almost like a quickening. Stances are essential in taking down specific foes. shield holders are better handled with water stance, whereas long-range spear users are better cut down with wind stance. Controls are tight and deliberate, so moving around, parrying and using various attacks will all feel solid. The game plays well, and sword slashes, clashes and cleaving of flesh sounds just the way it should. There we go, that's what I was expecting. There are a lot of these guys. Oh, that was amazing! Ghost abilities are extremely effective, and sometimes I wonder if there was ever a choice for a player to play the straight and narrow. Ghost techniques are so satisfying to use, benefit from and pull off. From multiple stealth kills, increased agility, improved listening range, damaging projectiles and more. Why would you want to play as a samurai? For the standoffs. Standoffs are a hardcore feature where you can challenge enemies you approach, or remaining enemies to face you one-on-one to the death. A well-timed swing will untether your opponent's soul from their body in one clean strike. You are able to perform only one strike in the beginning, but later on, it can end up looking like this. If standoffs are the ultimate one-touch kill for a samurai, as the Ghost, you will also be able to gain access to Ghost mode later on in the game, where depending on how many consecutive kills, you are able to go into a berserker mode and kill a number of enemies in one bloody blow. Yeah, boy. I personally believe, however, that they missed a golden opportunity to make this mode a bit more brutal and fury driven. Navigation and getting around is a breeze, literally. The mechanic for finding upgrades, health boosts, and being directed to your mission objectives is a gust of wind. There is no HUD display or radar, so you must follow the guiding wind to find your destiny. This is a new, innovative way to get around and lends itself to the mythos of the journey. I love it! Trekking across Tsushima is one of the shining lights of the game. From gorgeous forests, marshy lands, war-torn beaches, and surreal, sprawling fields, I was always impressed with the art direction, aesthetic, and detail in creating this living, breathing world. Grass looks so good, it triggers allergies. Foxes will show you the way to shrines, and golden birds will lead you to hidden secret items and locations. Even with access to fast tracking, I like to walk or ride just because. Night can break into day and into golden afternoon. Weather changes and a storm brews in the distance as a reminder of the turmoil. The merging of nature and landscape makes Tsushima feel very much alive. There is plenty to do on the way to carving out your path, and by completing missions and stories all across the land, you will make progress in liberating your country from the clutches of the Mongol territory. There are several memorable characters you will meet, and many ways that your presence will affect the world around you. You can liberate the island one territory at a time, or seek out specific quests to complete, which will make more areas accessible. Some quests are termed legendary quests, where you can obtain a legendary weapon or technique which decisively makes you a bigger threat and more of a legend yourself. The more your legend grows, the more technique points you acquire. A little on the weapons and armor. There's really not much to it, as you basically upgrade your weapon with gold and irons collected across the game. I did have a gripe that there are additional hidden blades scattered across the map with interesting names like Venom Blade, etc. But if you equip them, they don't give you any extra stats. They are simply decorative. Armor, on the other hand, do have stats attached to them. There's even one that makes you undetectable to the enemy for a short time. You learn archery as well and can upgrade for more damage, tighter focus, or even explosive arrows. Essentially, you have a sweet tool set to deal with your enemy. With everything that's wonderful about the game, it isn't perfect and you will notice some occasional bugs and hilarious ragdoll physics. Are you kidding? Look at that. Not only that, but on occasion the camera gets stuck behind a wall, a tree, or a bush mid-fight, and that can be jarring and at times very inconvenient. Besides that, the game loads remarkably quickly, doesn't feel heavyweight, which is surprising due to the flourish of textures, pixels, and the glow of this world. It's always a pleasure to see the little details used in the game. For instance, roaming through the countryside, Jin passes his hand along the tall grass and flowers, which gives his character more interaction with the world. Taking the time to replenish yourself in the hot springs, you can hear Jin meditating on his inner thoughts. I appreciate this game as a whole, and certainly had quite an experience playing it to the very end. As a man of culture, I rate Ghost of Tsushima an 8.5 out of 10. Guys, I'm telling you, it deserved the high accolades that I gave it. I played this game and it was one of the best games that I've ever enjoyed. And I played a lot of games, to be very honest. But what do you think?
I think it is gorgeous. I think it's gorgeous. You think it's gorgeous, but we do have one.
We have this guy at Choice
there.
over here who says that the game sucks, and I don't believe him at all. He prefers Demon's Souls, and he believes that it's a better game, and I think that he's wrong. But anyway, we don't have time for us to talk garbage over here.
But I want to hear your garbage, so shout us out on our social, Facebook and Instagram. Let us know what you think. In the meantime, between time, if you'd like to get this game, you can get it for PlayStation 4 and 5. But don't worry, Xbox fans, we've got your hot exclusives coming soon, so keep it locked to Gamer by World for more.
What she said. We'll be right back.